Hello, my name's Hugh Loring, and this presentation introduces Debra 6, the next generation ADME LIMS from LabLogic. For over 20 years, Debra has been the leading GLP-compliant protocol-based LIMS for ADME and metabolism studies. During this time, the system has been constantly developed, with recently added new modules for protein binding assays and the splitting and pooling of samples for metabolism studies. Debra is widely used amongst pharmaceutical and agrochemical companies and is the industry standard for contract research organisations and is currently in use in over 30 sites worldwide. Debra 6 introduces many new features, including a new user interface, multi-site support, study export and import, the addition of 2D barcodes, the merging of our Sarah LIMS, and a major technology update. Let's look at each of these new features in more detail. Debra 5 was first released over 15 years ago, and during that time the system has developed and grown and added new functionality. This meant that the original menu structure was getting a little complicated. Debra 6 introduces the now familiar ribbon navigation toolbar as introduced by Microsoft. Our developers have carefully examined the flow through the application and designed a consolidated menu structure within the ribbon with clear, easy to understand icons. Many screens have been redeveloped and a new visual security setup is available. A new home button adds easy selection of most recently used projects. Take this example. In Debra 5, treatment functionality can be found in many places. Obviously the treatment menu, but also batches for creating LSC treatment batches, and also treatment labels. The edit treatment data menu allows review of project formulations, and the report menu for the reporting of the design, preparation and analysis of treatments. In Debra 6, all of this functionality is consolidated onto one easy-to-use ribbon. Debra 6 also adds support for multiple sites using a single database. For many years, companies have been using Citrix technology to allow multiple sites, often on different continents, to connect to a single database. This has many advantages in terms of IT support for a single rather than multiple databases, and all study data within the enterprise can be found in a single place. However, for the user, the system was overcomplicated by all users, instruments and projects being seen. Also, the system didn't allow for differentiation of site-specific rules that may have been adopted over the years. Debra 6 will now allow for the configuration of multiple sites within a database. This can be used for both geographic differentiation as well as separation of in vivo ADME, GLP versus non-GLP, protein binding and soil metabolism work. Another new feature of Debra 6 is the ability to export and import data between databases. Many pharmaceutical companies are cutting back on the amount of in vivo work being conducted, preferring to outsource this to a contract laboratory. However, often the metabolite profiling portion of the study is retained in-house by the sponsor, and biological samples and data are shipped back for further analysis. Users of Debra 6 will now be able to import Debra study data from both legacy data Debra 5 and Debra 6, allowing for further reporting, PK analysis, pooling of samples and metabolite profiling, as well as being able to consolidate all their data, mass balance data, into a single database. Barcoding is increasingly being used in Debra. Now it is not only sample containers that have labels produced in Debra, but also cage cards, treatment analysis files, syringes and sample aliquot files can all have labels produced from Debra and unique barcodes included on the label. Due to the smaller size of aliquot labels, including both the barcode and human readable information has become harder, but when using 2D barcodes, a lot more data being included within the barcode in a much smaller size label. Debra 6 merges the functionality of Sarah, our soil metabolism LIMS, into a single application. This is particularly useful for contract laboratories offering both drug and environmental metabolism services. Sarah was previously available as a separate executable and database. However, the onus of having to validate two separate systems hindered the adoption of Sarah, so it is hoped that adding this functionality into the core Debra product will allow more companies to use these features. Soil degradation, soil photolysis and absorption-desorption studies are increasingly performed and have their own unique data requirements, both for the analysis of the starting soil moisture handling properties, dispensing of the soil by dry weight or volume, and monitoring of the moisture content during the course of the study. With these projects often being quite long-term, collecting data over a 6-month period and involving numerous soil samples as well as trap and residue analyses, The data quantity that needs tabulating and checking is well suited for collection within Debra. And finally, the introduction of Debra 6 has allowed us to bring the technology behind the application up to current standards, removing the BDE connectivity to the Oracle database. Our developers are also using the latest Delphi tools, and the software has been fully tested on the latest Oracle 11 and Windows 7 versions. I hope that you've enjoyed this introduction to Debra 6. The system is in the final stages of testing and will be released very soon. To organise your demonstration of the software, please contact solutions@lablogic.com.